They say the world runs on luck. Some have too much of it, others none at all. And then there's the kind of luck you don't see coming. The kind that walks in wearing someone else's name, with a busted nose and a death sentence he doesn't even know about. This is the story of Slevin, or at least that's what he says. But to understand this story, we have to go back. Way back. Not to New York today, but to a racetrack in 1979. A place where fortunes were won, lost, and sometimes buried. There was a man named Max, a bookie. Sharp suit, sharper instincts. He wasn't just placing bets. He was moving money, working angles, and playing the system. Until the day he made a mistake. He bet big against a horse called Lucky Number Slevin. And he wasn't quiet about it either. He told friends, contacts, everyone who'd listen. He thought he had insider knowledge. The horse was supposed to lose. But Slevin didn't lose. It won. Out of nowhere, the underdog became a legend. And Max? He became a target. The people who lost money that day weren't the type to shrug it off. One of them was the boss, a brutal, calculating crime lord who saw Max's actions as more than just a bad bet. He saw betrayal, a setup. So he did what men like him do. He sent a message. Max was murdered. His wife, too. And their little boy? Gone. Or so it seemed. Fast forward to today. A young man walks into New York, looking like he's had a bad week. His name is Slevin, or so he tells people. He's come to visit his old friend, Nick Fisher. But Nick isn't answering his phone, and his apartment is empty. So Slevin does what anyone would do. He makes himself at home. But even before he can unpack, there's a knock at the door. Enter Lindsay, Nick's neighbor. She's witty, sharp, and just nosy enough to make things interesting. She notices the busted nose, the towel, the casual confidence of a man staying in someone else's apartment. But Slevin, cool as ever, spins a story. Says he got mugged. Says Nick offered him a place to crash. Seems believable. Until the second knock. This one's not from a neighbor. Two massive men in black suits and colder eyes step inside. They don't ask who Slevin is. They just tell him he's coming with them. No choice. No explanation. They take him to meet a man who doesn't need an introduction. The boss. Years older now, but no less dangerous. He stares Slevin down like he's seen a ghost. And maybe he has. The boss tells him that Nick Fisher owes him $96,000. Nick missed payments. Skipped town. But Slevin? He's in the apartment. He fits the description. So now, the debt's his. But money's not the point. The boss wants a favor. He explains that years ago, his only son was murdered, gunned down in cold blood. The killer? The son of the rabbi, another crime lord, the boss's oldest rival. The police did nothing. So now, the boss wants his own justice. He doesn't want money, he wants blood, and he wants Slevin, or Nick as far as he knows, to pull the trigger. Kill the rabbi's son, he says. Make it look random. You do this, and we're even. Slevin doesn't flinch, doesn't protest. He listens, he nods, he accepts. Why? That's part of the puzzle. But before he can act, the cycle repeats. Another knock. Another pair of men in black. This time, they work for the rabbi. They grab Slevin, drag him to a different high-rise across town. And once again, he's face to face with power. The rabbi sits behind a desk flanked by guards, walls lined with books and secrets. He speaks calmly, like a man used to being obeyed. And he tells Slevin the same thing. Nick owes him money, too. Almost as much. Slevin, still wearing that towel and still oddly calm, listens again. 2 debts, 2 threats, 1 wrong identity, and 1 silent truth. Slevin isn't Nick Fisher, not even close. But the world doesn't know that yet. Slevin walks back to Nick's apartment like a man walking through a dream. 2 mob bosses now think he's Nick Fisher. Both want payback, and neither will take no for an answer. But here's the strange thing. Slevin never panics. No sweat, no stammering, just this unsettling calm. Either he's insane or he knows exactly what he's doing. Back in the apartment, Lindsay's waiting. She's got questions, and Slevin, as usual, has answers. Clever ones, charming ones, maybe a little too smooth. But she's intrigued. They flirt, spar, dig into each other's lives. Slevin says he doesn't believe in bad luck, says the world is chaos, and people just look for patterns. Lindsay? She's a coroner's assistant, someone who sees the randomness of death every day. Maybe that's why they click. But even as this strange romance blooms, there's a shadow moving in the background. His name is Mr. Goodcat, and if death wore a face, it might be his. Goodcat is an assassin, cold, silent, lethal, a ghost in a world of noise. He's been watching, waiting, killing when necessary. Always one step ahead. He meets with the boss in a darkened room, talks about the Kansas City Shuffle, a move where everyone looks left while the real action happens on the right. It's not just strategy, it's prophecy, and it's already in motion. Meanwhile, Detective Brakowski is building his own puzzle. He's been tracking Slevin, or Nick as he believes, for days. He's seen him walk in and out of both crime bosses' towers, seen him smile in the face of threats. It doesn't add up. Slevin looks like a nobody. But nobodies don't get hunted by the most dangerous men in the city. Still, Brakowski doesn't act. He watches, listens, waits. Like Goodcat, he knows timing is everything, and the clock is ticking. Lindsay and Slevin grow closer. She's fascinated by his contradictions. How calm he is in chaos, how open yet secretive. She even helps him investigate Nick's disappearance, trying to figure out how he vanished and what he might have gotten into. But the more they dig, the stranger things become. Slevin discovers something. The rabbi's son, the one he's been ordered to kill, is in hiding. A guarded tower. Impossible to reach. But Slevin doesn't blink. He smiles, plans, waits. Because this isn't about debt. It's not even about mistaken identity. This is something else. This is revenge. But revenge against who? And why now? Back in the shadows, Goodcat continues tying up loose ends. He eliminates people, quietly, ruthlessly, anyone who might unravel the plan too early. And slowly, we begin to realize something chilling. Slevin and Goodcat are working together. But how? Why? Is Goodcat protecting him, guiding him, or using him? Flashbacks begin to bleed in. The racetrack, Max, the little boy, a story left unfinished, a vendetta frozen in time. It all points back to one day, one bet, one betrayal. And now, it's time to settle the score. Everything is now in motion. Two crime lords want the same man dead, but neither realizes the man they're threatening isn't Nick Fisher. And Slevin, with every step, is walking deeper into the belly of the beast, completely unfazed. Because this is exactly where he wants to be. Slevin receives the order, kill the rabbi's son. But this isn't just a hit. It's the linchpin, the final move in a decades-old game of vengeance. And as Slevin walks toward the heavily guarded building where the rabbi's son hides, we feel it. This isn't about settling Nick's debt. This is personal. He gets inside. How? We're not shown. Maybe Goodcat opened the door. Maybe Slevin had help. Maybe it was always meant to happen this way. Inside, Slevin finds the target. A young man with security, arrogance, and no idea what's coming. And then, a gunshot. The son of the rabbi is dead. But Slevin isn't done yet. He takes the rabbi's son's body, bags it, disappears. Hours later, the boss and the rabbi receive the same call. We have your son. But neither knows yet. Their sons are already gone. And now Slevin's mask begins to slip. He returns to the apartment. Calm. Calculated. Lindsay notices something's off. She pushes. Asks about his past, his real name, the mugging. None of it adds up. And Slevin tells her nothing. But she's already piecing it together. Meanwhile, Brakowski grows restless. He starts pressing harder, digging deeper into Nick Fisher. But the more he investigates, the more dead ends he hits. It's like Slevin appeared out of thin air. And that's when the flashbacks begin to hit harder. We see that racetrack again. We see Max. the man who placed the wrong bet. We see his wife, their murder, their little boy hiding in a closet, silent, watching, and then nothing. Until now, because that boy was never found. Until now. Slevin isn't just anyone. He's that boy, Max's son. He watched his parents get murdered over a bet, saw the faces of the men who ordered it, lived with that silence for decades. And now? He's back to finish what they started. This isn't about Nick Fisher. It was never about Nick Fisher. Nick was a real man, a gambler. He did owe both the boss and the rabbi money, but Slevin found him first, took his place, wore his identity like a mask, used it to walk through the front doors of the very men who destroyed his family. But there's still one piece missing. Mr. Goodcat. The ghost. The killer. The guide. Turns out, Goodcat was there all along, even back then. He was the man sent to kill Max's family. But when he found the boy, scared, hiding, alone, something changed. He didn't pull the trigger. He took the boy, raised him, trained him, not just to survive, but to finish the story. Now we understand. Slevin and Goodcat are two ends of the same blade, one forged in fire, the other sharpened by time. And together, they've orchestrated every move of this game. The Kansas City Shuffle wasn't just a trick, it was the plan. While everyone looked left, at the debts, the hit, the mistaken identity, the real play was happening on the right. Revenge, calculated, inevitable. Now, only two moves remain, the boss and the rabbi. Two men sit tied to chairs in a quiet warehouse. One is the boss, the other is the rabbi. Old enemies, rivals, each believing they were untouchable. Now gagged and helpless, they finally come face to face, not across a table of negotiation, but on the edge of their own execution. Standing before them is Slevin. No more games, no more fake names, no more Nick Fisher. This is the boy they left behind, the one who watched his mother and father be murdered over a $20,000 mistake. And now he's brought them here, not just to kill them, but to show them what real justice feels like. He lays it all out for them. The debts? Orchestrated. The identity? Stolen. Strategically. Nick Fisher? Already dead. Goodcat killed him the day Slevin arrived in New York. They needed someone whose life was chaotic enough to disappear without notice. And the sons? The rabbi's son? Dead? The boss's son? Also gone. Goodcat made sure of it. Their lineage ends with them. The rabbi's eyes widen in horror. The boss tries to scream through the gag, but it's too late. Slevin doesn't flinch, doesn't celebrate. He simply walks behind each man and pulls the trigger. 2 shots, 2 lives, 2 decades of pain. Finally silenced. But there's one more loose end. Detective Brakowski. He thinks he's been investigating a criminal. In truth, he's part of the crime. Years ago, Brakowski was a young cop, looking to climb the ladder. He owed favors. And one of those favors? Letting a murder go unsolved. Max's murder. Slevin confronts him in his apartment. No disguise, no clever words. Just the truth. Brakowski pleads. Says he didn't know, that he couldn't stop it. But Slevin doesn't buy it. He doesn't kill him, though. No. He lets him live. Forces him to sit in the pain. To feel what it's like to be powerless, just like he was. The game ends. Where it began. With Slevin and Goodcat. 2 men in suits. One, young and focused. The other, seasoned and silent. They meet one last time in the shadows. The job is done. The debts, emotional and literal, are paid. But then, Slevin asks a question. What about Lindsay? Because somewhere in all this chaos, he fell for her. Not a con, not a setup, a real connection. And that's dangerous in their world. Goodcat doesn't answer, just stares. So Slevin rushes to her apartment, fearing the worst. He finds her. Alive. Shaken, but alive. Goodcat had followed her, yes. Had the chance. But he walked away. Even a ghost has a code. Slevin holds her, the walls crumble, the mask fades. For the first time in years, he's just a man again. The final scene, Slevin and Lindsay standing at a street corner. She asks about the Kansas City Shuffle, and he explains, it's when everyone looks right, and you go left. She smiles. They walk away together, the camera pulling back, leaving behind a trail of bodies, secrets, and the ghosts of a revenge long served cold.